It's all about the Blues, and we're going to talk about the Alabar Breeders' Challenge Blue Finals. John, welcome to another edition of the CEO's blog.
Oh, nice to be here.
Yes, well, we wouldn't have this blog if it wasn't for you.
Probably.
All right, well, let's talk about, we've got the Alabar Breeders' Challenge Blues Finals at Menangle this Saturday night.
And really strong finals. This series has grown and grown. We're nearly at the point where we could run semi-finals of the Blues in some of the divisions, so that's really fantastic. It's about having the stallion stand in the state, and of course the mares being in the state. So it's a smaller pool of horses, but it is a strong pool of horses, and we've got some great races.
So a lot of nominations?
The nominations were really strong. As I said, almost to the point where we could run semi-finals. So possibly next year. As I've said previously, we review the Breeders' Challenge Series post the regional finals, which are coming up in a couple of weeks in Bathurst, and we let the stakeholders put their points forward and see whether that fits with what we can do next year in 2019.
That must be nice to, see the series continue to grow like this. Obviously, the right things are being done.
Well, we think they're being done, and when you say it's nice to see it going forward, we have these other people that don't look with they're more glass half empty than half full in respect of what we're doing with breeding. We're working hard on that, but when we can see these new series, which are absolutely blue bred in this state, and the numbers growing, it tells us something.
Okay. All right. Well, let's talk about, so the Breeders' Challenge Blue Finals are at Menangle this Saturday night, and there's been a very special anniversary at that track recently. Yeah,
recently. Time flies. 10-year anniversary of the opening of that new 1400 metre track. It's the best 1400 metre track in the world. It's proven time and time over and over by the records that are being sent there. But going back 10 years is a good while, and to think of all the volunteers led absolutely by Rex Horn, but some wonderful people. Some have passed, unfortunately, but many are still with us. It was an effort like no construction company really. It was volunteers. It was a very, very fabric of what's the establishment of a great track, and also the fact that the club had the best track designer in the world with a block of land where he could build that great track.
Was that track designer Dan Kuhn?
Yes, it was Dan Kuhn. He spent a lot of time out here with it. He scratched his head a lot of times about the way Australians do things compared to Americans, but the combination of both, his design, or Charles Kuhn and Son, the company's design, and the ingenuity of the people that were there, certainly provided for and has established a great track.
You're a big part of that process. Obviously, you were the CEO of the New South Wales Harness Racing Club back then. What was the decision to make it a 1400 metre track?
We went out and surveyed. The club surveyed participants. It was an open survey. It wasn't closed. It was anybody that wanted to put forward what size track they wanted. It came down to a 1400 metre track because there was a want of mile racing. Now that track, as I say, it's the best of its size anywhere in the world because it was on a piece of land that was just there. So the turns are right, the straights are right. There's a good run into the start of the mile, great run to the turn, and horses sort themselves out. We've often seen 25-second quarters down that straight at Menangle, and often that's for the start, and often seeing 26 quarters for the finish. So it's a very fair track. The best horse generally wins. The best horse with the best run generally wins as well. So it gives opportunity.
So how do you feel, when you see horses like Myfield Marshall just earlier this year go 146 on a track here in Australia?
It just proves that our horses are as good as any horses in the world. If we had a mile track, yes, those records would be under threat from horses in Australia. So I talked about the glass half full, half empty. Well, it should always be half full because we can do anything that can be done anywhere else in the world. We just have to be put our mind to it and be persistent with our activities.
Okay, well, let's talk about activities. There's been plenty of activity up at Tamworth. Give us a little bit of an update about that.
Well, this week I travelled to Tamworth with Peter Carney and met with the Rice Group and our consultants. The Rice Group are a local construction company who have won the tender to put the new roof on the stables and a new officials pod. So they're a company from Tamworth. Their works around the area are very, very good, and we're very comfortable with appointing them.
Okay, so how much is all this how much is it all worth to the industry?
It's worth anything that you want to make it worth, really. But if you're talking about dollar value, when Harness Racing New South Wales, the board made the decision to buy that property, the showground, it was a bit of a shambles. There was a commitment to spend $2 million on the harness racing infrastructure there to bring it up to a standard that was worthy of the hard-working participants and also to look into the future. So this is the first part. We're already working on the permanent stables there, and it's good to see that there's more trainers there than when we first took over the site. So it's an ongoing process. Some people think it's a slow process, but we want to make sure it's right. And this is the first step. I think it'll be wonderful because I actually haven't experienced the pouring rain, not that anyone has around the state of late, in the open stables that were there now, or the heat, the searing heat of summer. So for this summer, we'll have a roof over the top, so at least there'll be shade for the horses on race days and trial events.
Yeah, and Tamworth received extra race meetings as well this year.
They did, and that's a part of a process that doesn't happen overnight. It happens through ongoing commitment by the people in the area. It's ongoing commitment by the people at Harness Racing New South Wales to be able to provide those opportunities. But we go back a few years ago, and I must say the state of affairs in the industry was poor. We certainly had matters that the police were investigating. We've seen the results of those. People were dealt with by the local courts. Harness Racing New South Wales had a big job to do there, and that was cleaning up. It's been cleaned up. The people that are in Tamworth now are great people as far as taking the industry forward. We just have to keep our minds on the job and do that. So they've received 4 extra race meetings. They have to be sustainable, of course, but for that area, the northwest, which is a long way away from anywhere else, 4.5 hours from Newcastle, for example, their vulnerability is their dislocation. But their benefit is that they've now got 30-odd race meetings, 36 race meetings, if you include Armidale, Inverell and Narrabri with Tamworth. They've got great opportunities. So they're almost racing every week. So I think it'll grow if people have a commitment to make it grow. Be compliant with the rules of harness racing, and the opportunities are there. The prize money's certainly there.
All right, well, talking about growth, there's been some growth with the New South Wales Owners Association with their bonus scheme.
Yeah, well, it's been a great scheme, introduced by the Owners Association a couple of years back, continued by the Owners Association. It starts in August, and this is where you're a member of the association, and every owner truly should be a member. They should be a contributor to our great sport. So if your horse wins at a particular meeting, there's $1,000 there. It's $500 cash and $500 in a certificate. But I urge every owner to be a member, be a contributor, and it's just another bonus to the prize money that's on offer.
Okay, and last year they had Ellen Rickson as an ambassador, and this year they're announcing 2 ambassadors.
Yeah, well, that's about growing. Great initiatives, all thought out by the Owners Association, currently led by Michael Brown and Daniel Cordina, a great committee underneath them, and a very strong membership. The membership has grown year on year for the last few years. But yes, last year Ellen Rickson, wonderful girl. She went on and represented New South Wales at national level. This year, 2 brilliant young people, in my opinion, in Maddie Young, who just won the Nick Dewar Memorial Rising Stars, and Blake Micallef, who also competed in that Rising Stars. They've split it up because of the work that's involved. So I believe Maddie will drive at the northern meetings and Blake will drive at the southern meetings. But it must be a great feeling for both of them. Maybe who more than the other? Well, Blake's father represented in the the junior drivers all those years ago.
Right,
So it's
I did
it's
not know that.
yeah, well, it's a good family tradition. A lot of daughter fathers, son fathers, mothers combinations in our sport go through these series. The Morrises, all those years ago. Someone you wouldn't remember, it was probably before you were born, but Peter Morris Senior, or Morrie as he's known, he won the first Australian Junior Drivers' Championship. So I think it was back in the early 60s when he was about 18 years old. But, it was a long while ago. But, we've seen what Robbie's done coming forward and the great association he has with Kerry Ann. It's hard work, will pay dividends. And for Maddie Young and Blake Micallef, it's hard work, it's dedication, and it's respect for those people around them. So they're great drivers. So truly people should be nominating their horses for these races, and if they're a member of the association, there's another $1,000 there.
Okay, well, just going back to talking about Robbie Morris and Kerry Ann Turner, we've got a few of those New South Wales people up in Queensland this Saturday night. Albion Park, the start of the Winter Carnival kicks off.
Yeah, well, whilst the Blues might have lost last night in the Rugby League, the Blues won't be losing this Saturday night
Well, they
at
won
Albion
the
Park.
series, so we did lose that one game, but the Blues did win the series.
Yeah, well, you are right there. But this Saturday night at Albion Park for the Oaks, New South Wales 50% of the field across the board. Sunshine Sprint, New South Wales trainers 50% of the fields. Most of the other races, 25% of the field. So New South Wales is very strong in Queensland. It's traditional. It goes back decades of this winter break in Queensland, and it adds to the competition. It adds to the way the racing is conducted at Albion Park and in Queensland. So it's great that New South Wales is so well represented.
Yeah, no, traditionally, many years ago, a lot of the Bathurst trainers would head to Queensland with a stable full of horses, including John McCarthy, and then he ended up staying there.
Well, he did. I really hope no one stays there this time. But the Frisbees are there, the Turnbulls are there, the Hewitts are there, Kerry Ann Turner and Robbie are there. The list goes on. Jared Olchin's there. The list goes on and on. But it's a great time to be. It is warmer in Queensland traditionally at this time of year. It's quite warm in New South Wales at the moment. But we encourage those trainers and those owners to go and compete wherever they can compete and bring back the spoils to New South Wales.
Most definitely. Okay, John, before I let you go, let's talk about the Industry Forum. It's fast approaching, just at the end of this month. Have we got any updates there?
Yeah, well, fast approaching. Updates. It's great to see that the associations, the breeders, the owners, the trainers and the clubs are really putting in. I've had feedback from each of those associations in this past week. They're putting together some really good presentations that all the industry should take in and see where they see the future. We're not looking at the past here. We can learn from the past, but we're looking at the future of the industry, and I encourage everyone to be there. What is it? It's one day out of our lives if we go there on the Saturday.
July 28th.
Yeah, July 28th. It's Saturday. It's all free. And there's some other activities that are connected to that. Take a break from training your horse, take a break from your work if you can, and be there on that Saturday. But I was talking to Wally Mann this morning. He's the Secretary, of course, of the UHRA. They're really looking forward to what they can present, to what the future is in their eyes. Not unrealistic, but where we need to position ourselves, and we get everyone together, we can exchange these ideas, and we can really work towards a bigger, brighter future in New South Wales for harness racing. And it is a bigger, brighter future just on our doorsteps. We've taken so many big steps in the last 10 years. The opening of the Menangle track, as you say. We have a world-class track in New South Wales. We have world-class facilities coming in New South Wales. Look at Bathurst and the great work that track. It's drawn people to the track, and some of the work the other clubs are doing with their facilities. It's bringing people to the tracks, and that's what we have. But we need to exchange our ideas, and we need to exchange them at the same place. We can talk individually and separately, but talking in the same place at the same time can deliver a message. So I encourage register. You know where the registration is. It's here on the screen now. So yeah, go ahead and be part of Bathurst and enjoy the regional finals. They're going to be great races.
Yeah, so yeah, lock in July 28th, the Saturday, and then stay on in Bathurst for the Sunday for the regional Breeders' Challenge finals.
You'll be there?
I will be there. I'm really looking forward to it. I was there last year and had a great time.
Excellent.
All right. Anything else for this edition, John?
I think we've had enough.
We've had enough? All right. Well, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Amanda.